Okay, in this video I'm going to show you how to draw the connecting rod that's in your text. I want to say very clearly that I'm not using the same dimensions that you need to use. You need to use the dimensions out of your text. I'm actually drawing a metric version of the part that's in your text, while yours is actually done in inches. So if you haven't done it already, make sure that you create a new project based on this part, and also you want to select a standard inch.ipt part file. Now, as I'm going through mine, you'll notice my dimensions are in metric, but we're working on different dimensions, so I just want to be clear about that. But you can use these same techniques to create yours. So I'm going to create a 2D sketch. I'm going to create that on the front plane, and I'm just going to let the left side of the object reside, the center of the left side of the object reside at the origin. So I'm going to start off just by drawing a circle, and then I'm going to use the 3-point center rectangle, and I'm going to choose, this is my center, this is my second point, and then just go directly above that to create my third point. And I'm going to do that again, and I'm going to select this is my center, this is my second point, and then I'm going to go to the left to create my next point. Okay, now I'm just going to do some trimming and deleting. Okay, you'll notice the dashed lines are construction lines, and I'm not actually going to use those, but Inventor uses those to create the rectangles. Okay, so that's what those are from. So I'm going to, after I've done all my trimming, I'm just going to do a highlight here, right click and delete to get rid of the construction lines that I don't need. Okay, and so now we'll just start applying geometric constraints, and well, actually, let's go ahead and put a fillet in. I'll put a fillet between here and here, and between here and here, and yeah, I'll add that dimension myself. Now, for some reason, sometimes it'll throw these dots in here. Okay, these dots are okay. These are the center points of the fillets, but I'm not sure what these came from. They may have been the endpoints of these horizontal lines. Not real sure. And there was a little extra construction line left over. Okay, so now let's start applying dimensions and geometric constraints. So I want to apply a vertical constraint between the center point of this fillet and the center point of this fillet. Notice I lost a dimension there. I want to do this. Oh, you know what? Before we go any further, let's go ahead and create a couple of circles. And I'll just create those, and now let's apply an equal constraint between these circles. Let's apply a vertical constraint between their center points. Let's make the circles tangent to this line, tangent to the line here, and now let's apply a coincident constraint between the circle and that corner, and again, circle and the corner. Now let's trim things we don't need. Okay, now I want this point to be vertically above this point, so I'll apply a vertical constraint between those two. Now let's apply an equal constraint between here and here. I didn't remember applying that, but apparently it's already there. An equal constraint between this line and this line because they need to be the same length. Okay, that was already there too. Let's try this one. Okay, it says that exists as well. So I think all our geometric constraints are probably in place. Let's go ahead. Now, this part is this part that I'm drawing right now. I'm not going to worry about this area right here. The corner here is the top left corner of the rectangle that's here. Okay, so let's apply some dimensions. And apply a dimension there, and a dimension here, and I think it'll let me apply a dimension there too. Nope, it doesn't like that one either. Dimension for the radius, dimension here, and it still says I need 2 dimensions. Let's try a horizontal constraint between the origin and the midpoint of this line, and not real sure. Let's see, we need a dimension between here and here, By the way, this point is the center point of this cylindrical part. Okay, I want to throw you off with the dimensions I'm using. And I don't know what the final dimension that we need to add will be here. Okay, so now our sketch is fully constrained, and since we're using different dimensions anyway, you don't need to see me adjust my dimensions. Just make sure that you adjust yours as shown in your text. And again, this point is this point on the 3D model, and then the midpoint of the rectangle here is the center point of this cylinder that you see on the 3D model. So I'm going to stop the video, adjust the dimensions, and I'll be back with you in just a moment. Okay, so I adjusted my dimensions. Now, by the way, this dimension needs to be a diameter dimension. So when you place that dimension, just make sure that before you place it, you want to right-click, go to Dimension Type, and select Diameter, so you can enter the same value that's shown in your text. Okay, so you want to finish sketch, and then you'll extrude, and we want to extrude by this thickness. Okay, and I will do a symmetric extrusion because we're going to take advantage of the default plane that runs through the object, and of course your value is going to be different than mine. Okay, so let me go to my home view. Ooh. By the way, if your home view ever doesn't work as your home view, you can right click on the home and then set current view as home fixed distance. And let me also change the view to shaded with edges so you can see it a little better. So back to my home view. Okay, so the next part I want to work on is the part that protrudes here and the part that protrudes here. Now the thickness of this part of this feature is the same as the thickness of this feature. Okay, so let's go ahead and work on that. I'll create a new 2D sketch on the default XY plane that runs through the middle of my object. I'll press F7 to slice the object. And now I want to project geometry, and I'll click on the surface. Now I have something to snap to. And I will draw a circle from the center point here to the outside edge. I'll draw another circle centered at the midpoint of this line and go up to the corner. And you'll look at, if you look at your dimensions in your text, you'll see why I was able to do that. And then I'll just draw this line down and trim. And notice it's fully constrained without a single dimension because of the way it's drawn. Now finish sketch, and I want to extrude both of those profiles symmetrically. And of course your extrusion distance will be different than mine, but make sure that you just follow your text. And back to the home view.